Purpose. I'm sure you've heard of it before, but what does it actually mean? How do we find it? And why is it so important and critical to our success? Samir Chibane here, founder of the eCommerce Incubator, where we help e-commerce entrepreneurs start and scale their e-commerce businesses. Now, today what we're going to be covering is a chapter of this book right here, The Human Laws of Nature by Robert Greene. Probably one of my favorite authors, and considering the fact that I have read a good amount of books, obviously not the most in this world, but I've read a good amount of books compared to the average person out there. So this is one of those right there that I actually took the time to go through and highlight and take careful notes, as opposed to most of the books out there where I just kind of skim through them and really just try to get the main point. All right, now this is the specific section called Advance with a Sense of Purpose, all right, or the chapter name. Now, purpose, I'm sure you've heard of it before, but what does it actually mean? What does it or how do we find it, and why is it so important and critical to our success? Well, that's what we're going to be covering. All right, I have a bunch of notes here on my phone, so you know this should be real structured and real quick as well. Now, if you can't pay attention to a video of this matter on this topic right here, it's going to be very, very important for you to really get through life without having anxiety attacks all the time, panic attacks, and being depressed like the majority of people are in this world. All right, so make sure you stay all the way through this video. I promise you it will be valuable. All right, now really the first thing we want to kick it off here is why everyone is different. Okay, and if we just look at it from a rational perspective, we all have a one-of-a-kind DNA structure, and we also have grown up with all different kinds of conditioning, right? Dependent upon the family that raised us, dependent upon the society that we grew up in. And last but not least, also, we all have had different experiences throughout our life that make us all unique. So this uniqueness of ours that we each have, Robert Greene says that is the ultimate way that we can make a difference in this world. All right, we have already made a difference in this world just by being born, but then we have to find the purpose that we are here to fulfill, right? The mission that we are here to fulfill. So again, the question becomes, how do we find it? Well, the truth is that the idea of finding your purpose is very, very taboo, right? They don't talk about it in school, and when it comes to religion, it's just the idea of the afterlife. And then you also got the norm mindset around this idea of why are we here on this planet, which is who cares? YOLO, right? Like you only live once. And so there's also this kind of cool sense, and we'll talk about this here in a little bit, but the idea of how it's cool to just live life without a purpose and just live life on a day-to-day basis, just kind of roll with the punches. But in reality, that is not what can really bring you absolute fulfillment and happiness in this world. Like you have to find your purpose. So there isn't too much, all right? And that's why I'm recording this video here, is honestly because when I read this section here, I obviously recommend you pick up the book and go through it yourself. But I wanted to share what I took away from this video, because there isn't much out there, and I've always really wondered about how do I find my ultimate purpose. I think I found my purpose, and so I really feel like there's a lot of other millennials, especially millennial entrepreneurs out there, that are constantly asking themselves the same thing. And the reality of it is that we like to move through life like we have absolute certainty in our purpose, like we're actually fulfilling a purpose. But for the majority of us, there's always going to be that voice in the back of our head with doubt. Hey, is this actually my purpose? Is this actually what I'm doing right now actually making the world a better place or making a difference in this world, right? Because we live in such a big world, with billions of people in it, and so we feel so small at times, but at the same time we're always trying to figure out a way how to make an impact even though we're so small. So it's a constant battle being, hey, I'm too small to make an impact, but also how do I make an impact so I can leave a mark on this earth, right? And so coming from or our parents coming from a generation that grew up in a completely different time, a completely different state of just a completely different really world in a sense, right? I come from Africa, so coming from Algeria, like I was born and raised there until I was about 8 or 9 years old, and that is a very, very different parallel to, you know, different world to the one that I experience here in Los Angeles, or when I'm in Boston, which is where my family is, you know, where my family stays before I moved out to Los Angeles. And so the idea of having our parents, really depending on our parents to help us find our purpose in this world, is something we constantly struggle with, right? Like, you know, we grew up being dependent on them from the age of 0 to, let's say, 16 or 18, when, you know, the majority of people go off to college. And even those that don't, right, they keep being dependent on their family. They live under their house. And so stepping into the real world, quickly we have to fit in and survive, all right? Because the truth of the matter is that you don't really have too much time to play around when, you know, you finish with school or you move out of your parents' house. Like, you need to be able to pay your bills and survive, all right? And so what tends to happen for a lot of people is, especially the older generation, is they would just get into a job that could pay their bills, and they just stay with that job for as long as possible until they can retire, because they couldn't stand the idea of you know, being uncomfortable. And there also really wasn't much opportunity out there as well, especially for my parents coming from Africa, okay? And so, you know, ideally, me coming here to the United States, and I'm sure a lot of people that, you know, immigrated here from other countries can relate to this. Like, there is so much opportunity in America that there's actually a danger to the amount of opportunity abundance that there is. And the reason why I say that is because now you're starting to see people who are just constantly jumping from opportunity to opportunity and not really ever mastering a skill or zoning in on a craft to master and to really build a career out of and make a difference in the world with or through. And so, you know, Robert Greene here is really, really great at pinpointing the dangers of jumping from opportunity to opportunity, because again, you're never ever going to be able to craft a specific set of skills. And so every single time you know, things get tough, or, you know, every single time we get bored, we're going to be switching from opportunity to opportunity, not realizing that it's not the opportunity that is not right for us, it's that we are lacking a sense of purpose in what we do. And so therefore we don't know what's going to make us feel fulfilled, and so we have to keep jumping from opportunity to opportunity to find that. And ideally, you know, and we're going to talk about here also in a second on, or in a minute, on how to find that purpose, obviously, but ideally the thing that you want to be listening to, because it's not a bad thing, all right? And Robert Greene really does a great job of explaining that, or clarifying that it's not a bad thing to jump from opportunity to opportunity. As a matter of fact, he recommends that. But really what you want to be careful of and what you want to pay attention to is the voice inside of you, okay? Now, some people call that intuition, some people call it God, some people refer to that voice inside of him as the spirit, or, you know, whatever it is, right? The universe. And so you have to be able to find that voice that kind of tells you, hey, this is a great opportunity. I'm having fun. You know, I am expanding. I'm growing here, and I'm not really complacent in this sense. Like, it's still a challenge for me, okay? Because the truth is that unless we learn to challenge ourselves, to push beyond our limits, then we'll never ever be able to really develop a skill set and master a skill set, because with mastery comes challenges, all right? And in order for you to master a skill, to be able to make a difference in this world, you have to be able to be comfortable with the challenges that come with that, all right? And so what happens when people don't have that voice inside of them? Well, if you're not really self-aware or in touch with your, again, intuition, God, spirit, right, universe, whatever you want to call it, then you're going to start falling for what Robert Greene refers to as false purposes, okay? And false purposes is really the cash, the money, the fast life, right? Because what happens is that when you don't have your true purpose in life, and really what you're aiming to achieve in this world, then you're just gonna start falling for the facade of materialistic things as, you know, really what's gonna make you fulfilled. And so he uses some examples of actually I'm gonna touch on that here, or let me see, because he talks about false purposes, but then he says the way that to combat these false purposes is to have a force multiplier. Yes, the way to battle your false purposes or falling for false purposes, right? The money, the cash, the fast life. Because ideally, the people that fall for false purposes is the people that are looking for quick gains in a short amount of time. And so they're going to be the ones that are going to keep jumping from opportunity to opportunity because they think that, hey, the money, the success is supposed to come quickly. And so essentially their idea of success is just messed up to begin with. And that's really what I'm realizing in the world of social media that we live on today is, and I'm a victim of that, okay? And honestly, that's why I'm so, I was so excited to dive into such a quality type of text as this book right here, The Human Laws of Nature. I mean, I haven't put it down since I've gotten it, but you know, in the world of social media that we live in today, you really do see that clearly on how people are just falling for the facades of, you know, materialistic things as their true North Star, instead of actually building great products and making a difference in this world and making the world a better place, such as Steve Jobs, for example. Because the people who actually focus on their purpose is ultimately the people that get chased by the money and the success. Right? The people that focus on their craft, on their skill sets, and focus on their purpose is what attracts, right, the great social circles. That's what attracts the money, the success, the fame, once you have actually fulfilled your purpose. But all the other people that, for example, all the models or the lifestyle entrepreneurs out there, or the people that are just, you know, really just flashing their lifestyle, it's an empty type of success to it. And it's really, and the pictures and all these things that they put out there is a way to fill that void of actually having something concrete to be proud of and to stand by. And so again, I have been a victim of this myself. And so over the past couple of months, I've really been making a conscious shift to shift my focus from you know, again, falling for false purposes, or just operating off of the, you know, true North Star of fame and, you know, trying to be popular and whatnot, right? Trying to get as many likes on social media and whatnot, because ultimately that stuff really just turns a lot of people into clowns. I mean, if you see on your Explorer page, the things that Instagram algorithm promotes the most or the kind of content it promotes the most is just clowns. It's just really just gossip and clowns. And so if you're gonna try to chase the fame and the likes and the engagement, you're pretty much gonna turn up into a clown, or turn out to be a clown to try to chase that. But if you're looking to actually achieve success and, you know, achieve your sense of higher purpose, then you have to focus on you know, finding that purpose and spending the rest of your life fulfilling it. All right, so how can your purpose help you turn your anxiety, insecurity, depression, and stress into fuel? Well, ultimately our anxieties and our depressions is really from a lack of feeling like we are making a difference in this world, that we are here, that we are fulfilling a higher purpose. And so the reason why a lot of people fall or a lot of people go through have tremendous anxieties and you know, a lot of stress when it comes to entrepreneurship is because they are not there to fulfill a higher purpose. They are there for the false purposes. And so really, once you start changing what you're optimizing for, then your anxieties really will start to become as a fuel to meet deadlines, right? To get projects or products done in time. It could turn because honestly, a little bit of anxiety does not hurt. It can actually be a great motivating factor if it's going towards the right thing. And your boredom, right? Your boredom can also be turned into, you can also get comfortable with boredom, because when you're being repetitive with what you're doing, which is what entrepreneurship really is. I mean, there's a great quote by Mark Zuckerberg. He says, although a lot of people try to hype up Facebook, really all it was a bunch, it was 6 guys in a dorm room coding for hours on end, nonstop. And so although a lot of people like to glorify Facebook for what it is today and how great of a success Mark Zuckerberg has become, he likes to remind people that, hey, this all started with just repetitive, boring type of activities, but that's what it takes to be able to get and fulfill your purpose, all right? And so really, I've been somebody that has also been a victim of that. Not necessarily a victim, but I've fallen for it, okay? The idea of whenever I catch myself getting bored, I will try to switch what I'm doing. But over the past couple of years, I've been solely focused on e-commerce, because it really is where I, get my highest sense of curiosity and excitement, okay? Like nothing else. And I've always been into the internet and selling things online, and I've always experimented with different opportunities, but until I found e-commerce and I realized that, hey, if I really want to master this craft, if I really want to become great at it, not for the sake of the short term, but also for the sake of the long term, then I have to commit all the way. And so, to kind of sum this up, well, before I sum it up, actually, how do you find that purpose, right? You find that purpose by, just like I said, something that gives you curiosity and excitement, okay? And whatever you're curious about will incentivize you to keep learning about it, right? And keep pushing through the challenges that come with it. But also, if you're excited about a topic or a specific field or a set of skill sets, then you're able to keep going even when things get repetitive, right? Because you're excited for what's gonna happen in the long term, not for what's gonna happen in the short term. Again, that's how you find your purpose, and that's critical to recognize whenever you're asking yourself or questioning your purpose, all right? So to summarize it all, you guys, honestly, this is just something I want to record a video on because, well, I've been really studying and just looking into our education system and how it is letting a lot of people down, and ideally how a lot of people are coming out of school just absolutely lost in this world, and they're getting stuck in a corner where they can't seem to get out of or shake out of, if that even makes sense. And so it really encourages me to kind of share whatever it is that I'm learning as I'm trying to answer these questions for myself. So my video is gonna die here, my camera battery is gonna die here. I've been going on for a while, so if you got any value out of this video, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment below with your thoughts, and make sure you also subscribe. All right, see you later, bye-bye.